Hello, chat. How's it going? Is this
Hello?
okay?
Hello?
Cool. Hey,
Yeah.
we're working. I'm sharing the wrong screen on the TV, so you're seeing
Oh,
a
okay.
couple
So it's a
seconds
little bit
delayed.
of a delay.
I
That's
apologize. What's going on, chatters? It is once again Kilgoon and Clumzy here
Yeah.
with some Titan talk on a Monday.
That's right.
We were just talking about it. Had a decent weekend.
Yeah, it was a pretty fun weekend. Just chilling.
I said I hung some blinds. Very exciting life of a dad. But yeah, a couple quick updates before we get to the thing that everybody's most excited to hear about. First one, SMITE Prime. It's back, baby. Jithan's just posted
There's some
an
cool
hour
games.
ago. It was cool games this weekend. Congrats! I think Globe's team won.
Yeah, that's right. I saw Sun Prodigy doing some crazy work on there too. Heck yeah.
Yeah, so awesome stuff, and it's coming back again next month. So if you want to play, signups are live right now. Go to the SMITE Prime Twitter account or X or whatever the heck it's called these days, and sign up and play some competitive Smite. It's pretty open. Just sign up, have some fun, play some competitive. Get to see how good you really are against some of these top players, and it's really fun. So I recommend if you love Smite and you've never played competitive, give it a try.
Yep, absolutely.
You've played in some of these, streamer tournaments and all this.
They're fun.
It's fun, right?
I've thought about joining the OSL draft. I know Hindu's in some of those as well. Not on SMITE Prime itself. That's I'm not. There's a different caliber of gaming there, but it's really fun to just see you've got your casual games, even got your ranked games, and then you've got just the next level of what people are doing, and it's pretty awesome to see.
Awesome. Other piece of update for everybody. Mordred is currently disabled.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. So there was a bug with Mordred where he could kind of lock people out from doing anything for the rest of the game. Not a good bug at all. Not something to laugh about. But we are working on fixing that right now, and we'll have him re-enabled as soon as we possibly can. But apologies for that if you are a Mordred enjoyer. Any other general things that you want to talk about before we get into the...
No, I mean, I know on Friday we were talking about the patch and all the feedback, and it's been really fun seeing people check the game out this weekend. I know there's a lot of people trying out all the new stuff, and that's been really awesome to see.
Somebody says 2x win. It was this weekend.
Yeah,
we had 2x worshipers this weekend. So there were a lot of people playing this weekend. It was a good time was had by all. Awesome. Now, I said in the title of this Titan Talk, Clumzy spoils two gods, question mark, exclamation point, question mark. So,
and then Pawn saying I can spoil the God of Carts coming out.
Oh, the God of Carts? Well, that's the first one, guys. Brand new God of Carts.
You heard it here first.
So we've previously said that our next two gods are kind of a traditional guardian-ish character. And a traditional jungler type character.
Yes.
And I think people have a good idea as to who the guardian-ish character is.
Yes, I believe so.
Due to I don't want to call it a leak. Maybe a little bit of a leak.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to do a little fun stuff on stream. And that was totally intentional.
We were trying to show off a neat new lobby feature, and there was an angry face right next to Giannis's angry face.
That's true.
And alphabetically, that does inform us that our next Guardianish character will be Jormungandr.
Yep.
Jormungandr, obviously a very popular character, kind of since his introduction in Smite. Not the oldest character by any means. He's kind of midlife of Smite 1, I would say.
Coming in that Arthurian conglomerate.
Yeah, my first note here is Yorm is Snick.
Yorm, yeah, and chat's got it. Yorm is Snick, and chat totally agrees with that.
Yeah, so very excited to bring him over. He has a relatively unique play style, I would say. The way that he's got kind of global ult on a kind of more tanky character, which is relatively rare. He's got this, cone breath auto attack.
Yeah, even by itself is you only see that on Yorm and Fafnir's ulti.
You've got throwing out your pools and then popping up and making more pools. It's just it's time to go swimming when Yorm's in town.
Exactly.
Obviously, he is the Norse World Serpent. Is that his official title?
That's right. He's the World Serpent.
And you gave me a couple teasers before this on what he's going to be like. Obviously, chat, before we get into this, next god is Giannis.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about Giannis on Wednesday. We're going to be showing off his kit. And we're going to be going
on
through
Wednesday?
The rest.
Sweet.
Yeah, and going through the rest of the stuff in the kit. So come back on Wednesday if you want to see Giannis and all the preview for OB16.
Yeah, that'll be super exciting.
But after him, 3 weeks from today, I guess, because a week from today, Giannis, or a week from tomorrow,
yes,
Giannis will come out,
and then
2 weeks from that,
yeah.
Jormungandr will come out. Do you want to like?
A really good point.
What was the?
How will Yorm and Arrowsbow work? You know what? I will double check.
Okay, we'll have to take a look into that. You are working on Yorm.
Yes, I am working on Yorm.
So do you want to talk us through a little bit about like any teasers about Yorm?
Yeah,
coming?
absolutely. So his +1s are generally pretty light. We're not going to go into them exactly right now, like each of the details of the +1s, but Kilgun was talking about the gameplay hook, about having those deployables, the poison breath. Yorm's got a unique way of playing, and we wanted to make sure that we preserve that. But as usual, we wanted to see if there's any way we can kind of emphasize parts of his kit that felt slightly lacking, and not in terms of like a matter of bloats. Like, we're not trying to give every god everything. But one of the things that was kind of unique but very typical for Yorm is he kind of had this combo-based gameplay, right? It's you throw down a poison cloud, you then submerge through it to break it up into several, and then you'd use your consuming bellow to consume them all, doing a lot of damage. And then after that, you've got these cool basic attacks that would help, they'd be empowered, you'd have even longer duration of that. But it felt, after you've done your ability combo, not including your ulti, you felt like there was a little bit of lack of gameplay for a little bit of time. So we're kind of filling in that gap a little bit. And also just using that opportunity to play around with the theme of a little bit more of that poison, of that venom. So one of the things that was kind of interesting with Jormungandr is that he deployed a lot of poison, but he didn't really inflict a lot of poison. And that's not to say poison, we don't want to say the same thing as like, damage over time effects, because this is not quite the same. But the idea for Yorm and his +1 will be the more you basic attack and the more you use your first ability to inflict poison on enemies, it'll build up the opportunity to deal even more damage.
Very cool. You also mentioned to me that he will be a hybrid scaling character.
He will be a hybrid scaling character. So he'll be doing a little bit of that. He's obviously going to be doing the intelligence side of things, but he'll be doing a little bit of that strength side as well on his second, third, and fourth abilities, but also primarily playing around with that new +1 gimmick, which I'm not going to go into everything right now, but that components of his kit will have a lever that'll allow him to scale into strength as well.
And then the last thing I think is probably worth talking about is this is kind of the support slot in the rotation. Mm-hmm. Yorm definitely was played as support, but also had a lot of a solo lane identity.
Yes, absolutely.
How are we planning to address that, make sure we give the support player something and the solo laner something here?
Yeah, so in this time, we're going to be looking at Yorm bringing in from SMITE 1 to SMITE 2, and he's going to be focusing on that, typical bruiser style gameplay. He's going to have everything that he had before, but we're going to be looking at him mostly on that bruiser style, but he's going to actually be gaining an aspect that flexes him a little bit more into that supportive gameplay style. So you're going to see still a lot of the disruption. We're not going to be taking that away from the bruiser style, but we're going to be taking a little bit of that damage output that he can do and shifting it to utility and ally buffing components.
Awesome. So basically, recap, support mains, you will probably enjoy the aspect version of Yorm.
Yes, I would assume
Solo mains, you will probably enjoy the default version of Yorm.
Yes.
So
that being said, the aspect will be losing some components as well that maybe you want to play around with the non-aspect for supports too. If you want to be an aggressive, like almost Kabrakan style
kill lane kind of thing
supporter, you probably will still want to stay away from the aspect. But if you want to be slightly more utility focused, less damage focused, then you'll probably want to turn that aspect on.
Awesome. Any more Yorm facts?
Yorm facts? I know this is more of like a Yorm not fact. It says, I know there's a lot of discussion in the Ambassador Discord and even in Titan Talks from previously about ideas of like, okay, let's have Yorm get bigger over time and stuff like that, right? That's an opportunity, and that's something that we're actually not against doing eventually. We have some other gods in mind that might be more interesting for that, but Yorm as a snack, while he is the World Serpent, even in SMITE 1, he's big and he looks really cool. His ulti kind of really emphasizes that. But his default model, like, he can't just get bigger. He'll actually really just get, like, longer. Yeah. And that's actually not super impressive. So Yorm's not the right opportunity if we did want to explore a mechanic like that.
I do have one final Yorm question for you.
Yeah.
What is the best Yorm skin in SMITE 1? Because he's got so many good ones.
Yeah, I mean, I may meme a lot about a lot of things, but he's got so many silly ones, and every time I see his skins, I'm like, oh my god, I wanted more badass ones. I'm not gonna lie, I want to see some cool ones. And then we got like Medusa. We turned him into
Medusa's
like, a cat.
Medusa. Okay.
Sorry. We got Goose and Gunder or whatever. Yorm and Gooser. Like, I don't even know what these names are.
There's Long Cat. There's the dragon one with the tiny little arms.
Yes, is the dragon one.
There's the plushy one with.
The plushy one's cool.
Where he pukes up the like felt
yes.
minion to clap for him. Like he's got so many good skins.
He's got so many cute and silly and fun skins. I would love to see some more crazy badass ones. But out of those, yeah, I mean the cat is just on the level of silly. Like that's just he's got the meatball sub skin. Like.
Oh yeah, he's got the sub skin. I forgot about that one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh my god. Yes, there isn't any Yorm cart yet. That would be pretty. I don't know how that
would you make him
work.
a cart?
We can make it happen. We can make anything
Okay.
happen. He's not. No, Pool Noodle is.
It's
Kukulkan.
There was when that happened, we had a long argument internally.
Maybe that's what I was remembering.
Whether there were two parts to the argument. The first one was whether Kukulkan should be a pool noodle or a spaghetti noodle.
Right.
And the second part was whether Kukulkan or Yorm should get the noodle skin.
Yep.
So there was a lot. Oh, his Windows Error skin.
That was
really
a
fan concept. That one was really cool.
Yep, that was interesting.
Awesome. That's probably enough Yorm talk.
That's enough
for one day.
Yep.
And now, chat. It's time for the next God reveal. The one that
they don't know anything about this one.
Yes. As we've said, it will be an assassin type character, a jungler.
I really want to troll Chad and say something that's not, but I know they'd just be pissed at me. So I'm not going to do
that. It will be Sukiomi.
That's right. Sukiomi coming up right after Jormungandr.
Yeah, I am so excited for Sukiomi. He just on a personal level, one of my favorite junglers. Chat's losing their mind.
Chat's going crazy. I really badly wanted to say it was Ratatosker just because I know how many of you out there want Ratatosker, but I know you just all be yelling at me right now.
I'll say, we definitely do hear the rat enjoyers out there, right? And we aren't ignoring that.
People are nuts for him.
Yeah, I think it's just in the schedule for right now. Sukiomi fit a little bit better.
100%.
And Sukiomi is roughly as popular as Ratatosker. They're pretty close. So this lets us make about the same amount of people happy and fit into the schedule a little bit better for us for right now. But we definitely hear all the rat enjoyers. So don't worry. But the next assassin, well, jungler, whatever you want to call him, will be Sukiomi. Sukiomi, man, one of our newer characters again, right? He's only a couple years old.
Yeah, I mean, I judge everything's like, okay, there's like Pawn and Era started working on some characters, and like everything past that is like newish to me. It's like, what? But going back in time, that's actually it's been a while.
Yeah, and Pawn is working on Suku. So, and I would say he's still a little bit early.
Yes.
So we don't have a ton of spoilers for him, but the things that I can say,
literally right now, yep, that's true.
Is that he is a hybrid scaler as well, and it kind of makes sense. Pon said with the two different weapons, have in his whole essence is kind of duality, right? So maybe tying into that a little bit with the hybrid scaling. He said we aren't 100% locked in on the aspect, and if you guys have ideas, we'd love to hear them from you. But currently we're leaning towards and experimenting with something related to the ranged autos aspect. So if you've never played Sukiomi, his 1 and his 3, after you use the ability, then your next attack is a ranged attack. Yes. And it, in my opinion, leads to this really fun play style on him where you're kind of like weaving between abilities and range attacks and it's very neat in my opinion. And so the idea maybe is that we lean into that a little bit for the aspect, but I'm not 100% locked in. If you guys have thoughts, we're happy to hear.
That's one of the main reasons why I really enjoyed Sukiomi as well, is because he kind of plays almost like a mage assassin in the sense that, like you said, his 1 and his 3 are kind of mid to long range abilities, and because after them you're getting the range basic attacks, you kind of just playing a good chunk of time from ranged if you really want to, and I really enjoyed that.
And then the last note that I have from Pawn, again, this isn't something we're 100% committed to, but his 2 is kind of just like an ability that sits by itself and isn't very related to the rest of his kit. So just thinking about ways to better integrate that into the other aspects of his kit, having the kind of 2 duality parts, right? Because his 2 is just like swing, stun, right? Yeah. And it's just kind of its own thing. It's a good ability. Don't get me wrong, sure. But it just doesn't tie in well with the rest of the kit. So, so that's the teasers I have for Sukiomi.
That's exciting.
But I'm very excited. So next 3 gods in order will be Giannis, Jormungandr, Sukiomi. Anything else you want to add about the upcoming gods?
No, it's always exciting to see what how people are going to take our takes on these characters, and we're already seeing a lot of cool, fun suggestions in chat. So I think that's one of the fun parts for us as well. It's not just developing the characters and bringing them, in parity from Smite 1 to Smite 2, but trying to find these opportunities to kind of go above and beyond, and either meeting, exceeding, or just like changing the expectations of the community is so much fun.
Yep. Somebody is asking, so is the 2 on Sukiomi going away? No, definitely not going away. We're just, as we're looking at +1s, we're thinking about like how the 2 integrates with the kit, because right now it just doesn't benefit from any of the synergies that are inherent in the rest of the kit.
Right. It's a good lockdown ability. It's a good assassin ability. But maybe you can play with Shingetsu and Mangetsu a bit more.
Yep.
Or maybe they'll be some part of the aspect,
Yep. Let's see. Is there anything else that we want to hit on, or if you just go take some questions?
I can spoil this one balance thing that I'm working on real quick.
That go for it.
It may or may not get in, because I'm going to say it, and it's going to be, I wouldn't say it's controversial, but it's going to be a point that people will like. And so you don't even know what this is right now. But
I don't. This will be a surprise to me.
Yeah. So I know we talked about it before on Titan Talks, and we've had a lot of questions on it. But we are implementing a change to see, and we're going to see if this works. So if we have to pull it out, just warning you guys in advance. But if it does work, it'll allow us to do specifically a non-conquest balance change for Hecate's aspect. So the idea will be if this works in, then Hecate's aspect in non-conquest game modes will just do a strict 50% less damage. And we're going to see how that feels, see how that works. It's our first to kind of experiment there, because we know from the community how much you guys want that. Whether we want to do more work or rework or anything else, that's beyond this conversation. But we're going to give that a try first, and see how that feels.
Awesome. Cool. Well, with that said, let's take some questions.
Yeah, absolutely. It's yapping time.
What
kind of shoes does Yorm wear? That's the first thing that I saw. I mean, he's got like a really long sock maybe, but like I don't know about shoes.
I can just see like the drawing now of his tail because you actually never see his tail. Well, I guess at the very end of the ult. Oh no, the back part doesn't come up.
Exactly.
I
don't think you're meant to be able to see his tail because he's kind of never ending. So it's the Ouroboros, you can see him eating his own tail, but or eating his own body, really. But yeah, I think you're technically not meant to be able to see it. So no shoes, no boots. Just as Smite doesn't have shoes anymore.
So
right?
can he buy regrowth striders?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, except for regrowth striders,
I missed it. Who are the next 2 gods? It's going to be Jormungandr and Tsukuyomi are the next 2 after Giannis.
Yes, after Giannis.
Is Giannis shipping with an aspect? He will not be, because we have a very cool aspect in mind for him that's just going to take a little bit longer to get done.
Yeah.
And we'd rather do the thing that we think is the coolest, even if it takes a little bit longer. So Giannis will not be shipping with an aspect.
Yep. Yeah, it's always a really tough decision for us to be like, okay, we know people like aspects. We know people like aspects on the new gods, and we like to be able to commit to that. But sometimes we don't want to undercook or underdeliver, because especially with the new ports that come out, because there's already so many aspects in the game that there's a certain level of precedence, a certain level of expectation. Not to say we're always trying to just push the boundaries, but we want to make sure that we're not just being sloppy about it. We're not being rushed about it.
Yeah. Legend Kira 2 asks, where are the goddesses? So we talked about this a little bit earlier, not on this show, but on a previous show, that basically we kind of inadvertently had a long run of male gods or kind of monstrous characters, which I think are mostly male, but I think we look at those as kind of a separate category.
Yeah, creatures, for sure.
So just in general, there were a lot more male gods in Smite 1, just because they tend to be the more name recognition characters in mythology, and we usually lean more towards gods that people have heard of, very often. That said, we definitely are going to have several goddesses coming later this year.
Yes.
So this update doesn't have any, but there will be quite a few towards the end of the year. So don't worry, there's a lot more coming. This is just the next 2.
And now you can kind of like use that on like the whiteboard to try and map out who we're going to do next. Just put the puzzle pieces together. It's just one more bullet point of information.
Yeah. Is there still an aspect this update? I don't believe we're planning an aspect this update because we're started on the Giannis one.
Oh, sure. That's right. We don't have a filler aspect for a previous god in this one. That's correct.
Yeah.
Honestly, just as another opportunity for whether it's on Reddit threads or in streams or anything like that, definitely feel free to come up with some fun aspect ideas for characters who we haven't done yet. One of the reasons why we haven't done some of these other characters is because it just gets, we've done the ones that we found really cool ideas. We've done the ones that we like almost easier, and obviously we need to revisit some of these. But it's as the list gets smaller, we want to make sure that we get these ones with fun and wacky, cool things we can do too.
2 Jormungandr questions. Are we going to try and make him more support leaning if he's being launched as the next support? His aspect is going to push him more heavily in the support direction. So, and we think that like the base kit will work as a support, but if you want to go more traditional support, the aspect should take him in that direction.
Exactly.
And the second question, I don't know the answer to, can he crit?
I was just looking at that today. We're working on the way his items will proc, and we're gonna start with just having Smite 1 parity if we can. But we may play around with more rules there. I don't want to give that away just yet.
Cool. And this is an interesting one. I don't want to get like super into all the weeds about Yorm, but I just think this is a fun one. Can he use wind sprites?
He cannot use wind sprites. They do actually afflict his passive currently.
Oh,
we
so
might keep that
debuff yourself if you try and use a wind sprite.
I'm really split between like it's technically not super user friendly, but it also makes sense to a point where I kind of want to keep it in. So like you would be displacing yourself. Just don't do it.
That's pretty funny.
With OB20 landing on my birthday, we can give him the gift of Smite card too. We can all just hands up and plead to kill Goon and to see if that can happen.
One of these days, maybe we'll go kart racing again, but I don't have an update.
Wait, that would be fun. For my birthday for OB20, can we go to like the actual kart racing place?
That would be fun. That'd be cool. Is there a kart racing place around here?
There is somewhere near, maybe within 15 to 20 minutes, I think. I remember there one be by like a golf course.
There used to be Andretti's, but that shut down.
Oh, maybe that's what I was thinking of, Andretti's.
Yeah. Now it's like a volleyball place.
Really?
Yeah, it's like indoor volleyball. There's like so much volleyball.
I live next to one 2 minutes. All right, we're going to Pond's place for some kart racing. OB20 release. Pond might be busy actually, but
yeah. Sorry, when chat gets long question mode while also moving fast, it's hard to read and keep up at the same time. Do you have thoughts on Cerberus being knock up and knock back immune during his breath ability? Because that feels like that might be really good.
That would be pretty good, and not to mention with the aspects, that's one of the main, we want to make sure that characters have counterplay to them, and Cerberus already does a lot of damage. Not being able to have another opportunity for counterplay, like I think people even said, for his aspects specifically, that, and it'd be like, no, actually that's a place where we would least want it, because we want to make sure that you can actually interrupt the thing. That's quite strong.
Sorry, just reading.
This is just reading session for us. We don't actually have to answer anything. We're just going to be
reading. I'm just reading. Thanks for talking to us, guys.
Exactly.
Sorry, I'm just trying to. I had one and then I lost it. Are there graphics or lighting upgrades coming this month? I don't believe that they're going to be in this update, but they might be in the update afterwards, or maybe the one after that. We're still working on some stuff, but yeah. How long is Double Worshippers? Right. I think it's supposed to turn off today, but Isaiah is the person who turns it on and off, and he's not back until tomorrow, so it might not.
Could there be a bonus time?
Yeah, you might get a bonus day. Is that the lighting change? How drastic is the difference? I'd say it should just make the game look better. I don't think it looks, I don't think it's like you're playing a different game completely, but I think it does make the game look better. So that's what I would say about the current status.
I love the loopholes. It's like what we were talking about on Friday, but it's different. It's like Sukiomi aspect. He transforms into Ratatoskr. It's like now you've got both.
The Ratatoskr enjoyers. I feel bad for the Ratatoskr enjoyers because I know that there were a lot of again, sometimes there can be misleading information on the internet.
Yep. Is that what actually might have occurred this
time? I
time?
think maybe. And I think that people, kind of thought that we were going in one direction when we were not.
Yeah.
So I can totally understand the disappointment there. Oh, ad. Oh, I forgot to turn off ads. Well,
sweet.
That's on
me. You gotta just chill for a little bit.
Yeah. My bad.
Wait, subs don't get ads, right? So I can't just AFK.
Yeah. We didn't get them on Friday.
I don't actually know how that works.
You have to turn them off in the streamer panel, like the stream manager.
Gotcha.
Well, we'll just wait another minute or so, and then we'll get going again. But yeah, I forgot to turn off the ads. This is the problem with having me run the stream.
And I know what you can also like force an ad beforehand, and then it maybe stops ads from coming.
Well, no, we just have it like there's a toggle, and you can just turn it off.
Gotcha.
But alas, forgot to.
Quick during ads, leak another god. Yeah, got you. Thoth coming.
Just
tomorrow.
said we're on 3 of 8.
3 of 8.
That's strike 2, Kilgun, dude. That's why you don't put me in charge of this stuff. There are things that I am good at. There are things that I probably would be better at if I did it more often. But it's like.
I quite literally would need a checklist. Like right over here, I'd have like a notepad of like these things. Those I would never remember.
I remembered everything except for turning off the ads. Okay,
that's still huge.
I got a car ad. Is this an omen for Smite Cart 2?
I mean, they're listening.
Yep.
You know? I got the ad block relic. Let's go.
Aladdin aspect that makes the ult a 1v1 on a racetrack in a cart.
I think I quite literally have pitched. Me and Caps have probably both pitched that to Pons before.
You would probably have to have like a flying carpet to make it thematic.
Yep.
But otherwise.
Or they could ride the genie.
Are we done with ads, guys? Are you guys back? Bad time for ads.
I have thought about literally putting like 5 gebs, and you can only use your 1, and they'd have unlimited cooldown, like duration.
Yeah.
And then you're like halfway there.
That's fun. I like it. Pawn says he's back.
Yeah.
So we're back. Success. Apologies. If you did not see my apology while the ads were running, I forgot to turn off ads when we started the stream. So that's on me. Sorry, guys. Thoughts on releasing skins every week. So we've actually seen that skins tend to sell better when they come out as part of the main patch.
Right.
And even when we did, remember back in the day when we patched like once a month or once every 4 weeks, we would release more skins during the middle with like a bonus balance thing. Those never performed as well as the initial patch. Something about like, there's a new update. I look in the store to see what's new is very...
That's like the flag in your mind of like, okay, now let me go spend my money.
Yeah. You're back from the ads. What did you miss? Mostly just
so much. It's
talking
actually crazy.
about nothing.
I would go back and rewatch it during the ads.
Please don't waste your life doing that.
I love just like the angel and the devils. Just literally at the same time. Kill good, take it serious. I'm just like, no.
Yeah. I did not see the backdoor Bacchus clip from Smite Prime. Did you see the backdoor Bacchus clip from Smite Prime?
No.
Oh.
Someone send that to me.
I'm excited to take a look at that. Somebody says, how do clips like that from Pro Play impact balance? I will say Pro Play clips do impact balance because you want things to remain stable at all levels of play. So if something is just like stupid broken at either the super high end or the super low end, then that's something we need to take a look at.
And it's like once you have any level of esports and like high level clips or even high level like content creator clips, if you start seeing like something like that happen that's quite strong, you eventually start seeing that proliferate to everyone else. Maybe it takes time. Maybe it could take a day, a week, a month. We see some content creators come out with like a YouTube video, and it may be a strategy that's super janky, but like you'll then see that strategy for like the next week or two, and people will be complaining about it. And then it's up to kind of us on the team to decide whether it's too strong, too weak, or it's just right, Goldilocks style. Need Tiamat, please? I agree with you, Vixen.
Will abilities be cleaned up with more effects? Some abilities look plain and bland, like Ra's Circle Heal, for example. So this is actually kind of intentional. I think that we felt like a lot of the effects were getting so noisy that it was hard to read what was going on in the game. So we did a pass recently to clean up a lot of the effects that we thought were just like the worst offenders and kind of try to make things a little bit simpler and easier to read in the flow of combat. I think there are still some that are, can be a little bit loud at times. But the way that our game works, there are 10 people doing things at the same time in the same place, each with 4 abilities,
and active items and things like that, or just normal items as well. That could be quite noisy.
Yeah, so it's kind of we've kind of learned more and more that it's important to keep the FX easy to read while
Right.
still being flavorful and fun. It's a difficult line to walk.
Yeah, which is I believe we implemented the enemy self and like ally visual effects kind of sliders to help you kind of play with that opacity a little bit too.
Yep.
Which has been very helpful, at least for me, to keep combat clarity.
You have been DM'd
Thank
the
you,
clip by
Jithans.
Jithans.
Appreciate it.
Let's see. Sanguine Lash continues to be a good item.
It's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. Just, I know that obviously we'll go through more balance probably on Friday, maybe early next week. I don't exactly know what the time frame is.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about how the meta's shaken out?
Yeah.
Any items that are, too good, too bad that you're just like keeping an eye on?
It's been really interesting to see the discussion on how the counter-healing, anti-healing argument is kind of shaken up. And after the first, wave or two of hotfixes that have come in, we're definitely in a healthier place. That being said, we haven't, fully seen the ramifications of which gods are too weak or too strong with certain things. Obviously, there's a lot of talk on like Hercules. We've seen Bacchus. We've seen a lot of self-healing discussions. The discussion that I want to like focus on, because we're talking about Sanguine Lash, is tanks, right? We had this whole feeling of like tanks are underwhelming. We were only seeing DPS tanks and kind of the soul laner, or DPS characters in soul laner, and then now with this change and this pivot, we're seeing a lot more tankier characters, especially the ones that can self-heal, utilizing these items better and better, and now that prevalence is extremely high. I mean, we even had I saw Zatman tweeting about how the soul laners feel good now, and it's fun to see these tank items, even if they may be a bit strong. And I feel like that's kind of the pinnacle of like, okay, at least this archetype of characters are having fun doing this gameplay style. From our understanding as well, there's a little bit of a, people are saying that TTK is slightly, time to kill has increased, which I was like, always get that one mixed around, because there's a little bit more sustain based on some of these items that are being built, especially in the team sustain. That being said, we want to be very, very careful on, one thing primarily when we're talking about Sanguine Lash, which is the damage output that tanks can do with these new items, while they're still able to also like self-heal, and what level of base stats those items give as well, right? Because maybe it's okay to have damage be slightly higher on those tank characters, but that means that their base stats and their tankiness need to go down, or maybe it's already at the state where the base stats and the items are too low, but it's the damage output that's too high, right? We're seeing a lot of Sanguine Lash plus Mystical Mail plus like even some Phoenix Feathers and other things that just do AoE damage.
Contagion actually ends up doing a lot too.
And Leviathan and Nemean, I get this confused. The damage reflection one.
Nemean.
There we go. Yep. I always get those two confused for some reason. Because are they both hides? Yeah. So obviously that's something that we really wanted to keep a focus on. We don't want, and people are like, oh, tanks are dead because Hi-Rez hates tanks. Like, that's not the reason why, right? We're happy to see tanks doing well. We're happy to see that people are having fun with the game for the most part. The damage output and the balance between those things is going to be very much something we pay attention to.
Yep. What are your thoughts on movement speed as a base stat in items?
Movement speed is probably one of the, if not the most valuable stat on an item that you can get. Regrowth Strider is obviously very good. Stampede is very good. It's Tekokagi. Remember when we had like Gemma Focus and Tekokagi both being able to stack? It's one thing we have to be very, very careful of, because movement speed has actually kind of gone up in Smite 2. In Smite 1, you even used to have kind of the increasing movement speed over the first 7 levels. In Smite 2, you're just starting at a flat amount of movement speed. You're always starting at the top amount. There is room for maybe a little bit more. I know that discussion was there when Mercury was added as well. It's like, oh, where's our movement speed items so that Mercury can utilize them a bit more? We maybe still might be looking at that, but we want to be very cognizant of how much of all these stats that we add into the game, because once you hit a critical mass, it can leave the game in an unhealthy state without it even being obvious, because it's not just the opportunities we talked about, right? Like there's the previous totem effects, there's the Goal Fury movement speed out of base, there's a lot of opportunities to get movement speed that either are in Smite 2 or new to Smite 2 that we have to be very careful about. So movement speed, there's definitely opportunities for us to play with it for some more, but it's a very, very powerful stat.
I think this is a fair question. Does it feel like we've flipped from must-buy anti-heal to must-buy new items?
So, yeah, I think we talked about that in Time Talk before, and it's something that I know as developers or designers on Smite for sure, we want to make sure we kind of nail the point on the head, which is we're doing a massive update around healing and life stealing. We wanted to make sure as an endeavor in that update to create new opportunities for healers so it doesn't just feel like a strict nerf, right? If we did all of this without any of the items, everyone would have just had like a worse playing experience in terms of like it would have been nerf, and that would have felt kind of bad. We wanted to have the other side of this to make sure that everyone had a fun time and you kind of had this, middle ground. That being said, we're technically not in that middle ground state yet because everyone's trying the new things. Everyone's trying the healers. Everyone's trying, even if things are underpowered, they just want to see what opportunities are there. And we're seeing a lot of excitement around that too. It's like, okay, this is, we're getting content creators and players who are just invested in the games going, I haven't wanted to play the game this much because there's so many new things to just try, right? It's like introducing aspects for the first time again. It's like, there's so many combinations of stuff that I can do.
Yeah.
I don't know what works and what doesn't.
And I want to try these on all the different characters that have healing abilities. And if I don't play, like, there's so many combinations that, a lot of people in this chat probably play, a couple hours a day every day, just about, right? Like they're very engaged players. A lot of people play, a couple hours a week, and that's still a really engaged player.
Absolutely.
And like, so you're seeing a lot of people that haven't experimented with this stuff as much as maybe you have, that are playing with it in every game, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that you definitely are seeing it a lot. I think it is, a lot of these new items are good, but just statistically speaking, not you must build them to be successful kind of thing. Right. I think it's more people are having fun with them, right?
Yeah. So because of that, how many new things there are and the amount of people trying those new things, you're going to almost see more healing and self-healing than ever before because of just the frequency of it. So once that like dies down a little bit, the popularity, or just as we start seeing new things rise to the top that are actually strong, that's the sort of like the shape that we need to just be paying attention to, and that's what we're going to be looking to either bounce upwards or downwards.
Why is it that gods like Anubis, Hunbots, Fenrir, etc. are displacement immune rather than knock-up, knock-back immune? It seems like a focused Ares ult counter, which is a mighty feels bad for being nullified with the standard damage ability. My understanding is that in the game, they're all actually just displacements.
Yes.
And we don't actually, the game code does not differentiate between the different kinds of displacements. They're just all displacements, right?
From my understanding, that's how we definitely implemented it when we first came with Smite 2.
Pom just crashed on audio import.
Oh, no. Yeah, that was a pain for me before. I'll need to double check because honestly, there were knock-ups, knock-backs, knock straight-ups, knock straight-back. Like there were so many different types of those that we actually just wanted to take that term and just call it displacement as well. But I know there's some internal friction on that too that we may have gone back and forth. I'm not actually sure where we landed up because we might actually be inconsistent on it now. But the original idea was that displacement kind of just covered all those cases, and it wasn't necessarily like a buffer nerf to areas specifically or to give anyone else more like gameplay opportunities than anyone else.
We get a request for this one quite a lot. Thoughts on releasing an attack speed plus lifesteal item, such as Aussie is the one that comes up a lot. But that is a niche that isn't currently fulfilled by any items.
Yeah. So there are combinations of stats that don't exist in the store right now and I feel like, I think there's one with cooldown reduction and something else that someone was asking for as well. We are fine with finding opportunities like that and creating new items for them if we find good reason to, which is, a fun opportunities. But there is a level of, hey, if you want attack speed and lifesteal, go an attack speed item and go a lifesteal item, or go two of each, right? Like that shouldn't be something that people don't want to do. It's almost like the original discussion we had with tanks in the solo lane as well. It's like, okay, if you want to go hybrid, then build a power item and then build a defense item, and you're now hybrid, right? There's some level of that I feel like we still haven't seen the player base accept, versus a certain level of that where we as the developers need to create more opportunities for. So we're still finding those opportunities. We're still finding where that middle ground is and that compromise is. But I would, while Aussie might be a desirable item, that's fine. I would still say, right now, I would still say to that argument, if you want attack speed and lifesteal, build that in 2 items currently, and we'll see on the developer side whether we can find fun new opportunities to help bridge that gap.
What is your favorite pasta shape?
Oh wow, okay, that's a question. You know what's okay. I actually went through a spree of not eating a lot of pasta, but it was just like the simple, like I want to just make a lot of food, so let me find. So I actually did try a lot of different pasta shapes, and the one that I liked the best, I actually, oh my gosh, I can't remember. I think it's called Rotelle, Rotelle, and it's kind of just like the spiral shape.
Yeah, Rotini.
But so Rotini, I think, is the smaller version of Rotelle.
Okay.
And that was actually very upsetting for me because after like a little while, I went to Publix to get some more Rotelle, and they stopped supplying them, and they only had Rotini, and Rotini is just a little bit too small.
Yeah,
a little bit smaller.
Okay.
But the Rotelle I liked because it in each of those like spiral folds, it contains the sauce a little bit better to me.
Have you had orchetti?
No, I haven't.
It means little ears.
Oh.
And it's like little discs that have like a dimple in the middle of them.
Right. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're really good. Probably my favorite pasta shape.
Love that.
But there's a lot of good ones. Good question.
Yeah, great.
I love the random questions. I try and work in a few, you know.
And I actually like had an answer to that one. That was just like, I don't know, flat.
Yeah, tortellini goes hard. Farfalle's good. Okay, pasta makes no sense. Why are there so many shapes? And why is the same shape in like 20 sizes? It makes no sense. It all tastes the same. Jethans, it does not all taste the same. The different shapes interact with the sauce in different ways, and you get different mixtures of sauce and pasta mouthfeel.
That's like saying pasta is the same as rice because they're both like carbs.
Yeah, it's like saying that like basmati and jasmine rice are the same. You know, very different.
Velveeta or Troll. Hey, in my college days, I had stocks of Velveeta on me for sure.
Yep. How do you feel about CCR, crowd control reduction, as a stat?
Man, crowd control reduction is another one of the stats that is okay. So it's not OP like movement speed at all, but it's one of the ones that we in Smite 1 always struggled to get to a point where people actually wanted to buy an item for it. It was always like the splash on, like if there was a tank item and we didn't know what other stat to give it, sometimes we'd be like, okay, throw some CCR because it's another bullet point that felt good. The problem is that it was actually quite good. Like it was quite a good stat that was just generally undervalued. So it's not something that we're against bringing back. It's something that we definitely can, but it's we have seen the struggles of it before, and it's almost like another pass. It's like, okay, if we do that, do we need to remove health off of, right? We don't want to we can create new items with it, but if we want to introduce it into older items as well, I can guarantee most people would be like, okay, this is just a nerf. It's like, oh, you took away 100 health for the equivalent amount of CCR. Most people would probably just want that health back. And we can't just, again, we don't want to just bloat items by just tacking on a stat. So maybe it's just creating some new items. But then it's just another, like, wormhole to dive into. It's like, okay.
Speaking of Yorm.
It's not a, wormhole, exactly. It's not a bad idea at all, and we aren't against it. But we just know the balance dilemma around it.
What is the most challenging part of Yorm to add to Smite 2?
The one that programming's doing, which is like there's a certain amount of like what I can do on the design side on the tech, and there's like, okay, if it's programming related, then I know that's not something that I'm gonna be doing. Which is, the ulti is still pretty hard. It's so much easier to implement in Smite 2 than it was in Smite 1, and I hear Josh on the programming team talk about that all the time. He's like, thank God we're doing this in Smite 2. This is so much easier. That being said, there's a lot of moving parts to getting like the spline tech working, and I'm not going to go into the huge technical details, but like going from normal Yorm shape to ulti Yorm shape, it is effectively not just one new model. It's several new models in terms of like the repeating splines that happen and the large head and making sure that feels good, and the multiple different hops. It's a technical marvel to an extent that several different teams have to work on together to make feel good, and I just have to poke Josh with bugs because it's not something that I can help with.
Yep. What are your thoughts on backdoor protections? And I think that people are asking this particularly because they think that there's still some split push abusers out there that they are not a fan of.
Honestly, it's a really, really tough question because a part of me, I can see both sides of it for sure, which is I hate when it happens, right? Like when there's the play test and we're talking about Josh and Danzabur or whatever it may be or whatever in my live games, and like, okay, we're just having a great team fight, and then we just look back into base. I think I saw a clip of someone just like, oh yeah, and then Danzabur just backdoor that Phoenix and that Phoenix. It's like, okay, yeah, that's obviously there's a level of that's like, okay, well that's not very engaging for either team, to be honest, except for the person who's doing the split pushing. That being said, there's a level of split pushing which should be viable and should be okay because that is a strategy that can be accounted for, right? Like even when the Amaterasu discussions were there, a little bit of it was, well, if you're paying attention and playing together as a team, you can capitalize on that, right? Now do a 4v5 situation, now push for Fire Giant or counter to have one person back, ward up in the right spots, and there are ways to play against it. I think we're still in that middle ground of like, what feels too good, what is not, what is just not fun. Are there, with the new items that come in and the new gods that are coming into the meta, are things just better than they were before to an extent that we can't counteract? We have the runic bomb, we've got the Nagas, we've got all these different axes of allowing for and against split pushing that it's going to constantly change and it's going to be in flux. And that's something that we will just have to monitor on what is too good and what is not good enough. Or, I don't think we will ever want to just delete split pushing from the game. Like I think there has been a discussion because we talk about a lot of these things, and sometimes we'll just like as a discussion point, it's like, okay, what's the hypothetical world where we can just kill split pushing? Like, and how does that? What would it be? How does that feel? And then let's dial it back and to see where we can go, or go the opposite. It's like, okay, split pushing completely fine, and what is the break cases, and what is the one or two things that we have to address? So we're still in that realm of let's just do what is necessary to make sure the game feels good. It's not a strategy we want to completely eliminate.
Yep. And it's just like, so it's more, we got to get it into balance, and we're looking at things to make sure that it does that, but we aren't looking to eliminate it as a strategy entirely. There was a Sot had a question. He said, when is the agility relic coming to ranked? And I'm not sure how we feel about the current state of the ability relic, if we feel like it's ready to go into ranked, or if we're like, we're going to give it another patch and get more data, or just generally if you have thoughts on it.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts, and would you like to see it in ranked in its current state? I think it is a very strong relic. Pon has made some fantastic adjustments to making sure that it feels a lot better, so I think we're definitely in that state now. But I think we're definitely still in the phase of let's see how everyone feels about it. Ranked is kind of like the last report. I mean, like we first was in quick play, then it was everywhere. It's okay, do we want to do that last little bit? There are a lot of characters that, there are a lot of use cases for all the other relics that has made agility not be kind of mandatory. That being said, agility is obviously still quite good in a lot of scenarios. It's very versatile.
Yep. What were the two gods? It's Jormungandr and Tsukuyomi. A lot of long questions in a row.
Yeah, I mean, we answered this one earlier. I would actually say Cerberus aspect specifically is one of the main things that we wouldn't want to get displacement immunity in this too. Sure, it is strong and it is very strong, but that's one of the main counterplay mechanics. And removing counterplay is not something that we always wanted to do.
Any feelings on Umbral Link? I think we said previously it's probably one of the least powerful of the new items.
Yeah. And it's a good thing to have both sides of like the strength argument on some of these new items. I think we're definitely going to be looking at constantly and for months to come these new items and to see how they feel with our characters. So Umbral Link, if it's too weak, we can buff it up. If Mike Typhon is too weak, we can buff him up too.
Yep. I see a couple people asking about the Wandering Market that got delayed from the last update. At the time we said it's kind of indefinitely delayed. We don't have an ETA for when we'll have the next full market, but we'll continue to have, travelers and sagas over the next few patches and, kind of re-examining the way the whole market economy works just to make sure that we're doing things the right way. So as we're going through that process, those are currently on hold. What made us pick Sukiomi? Is he easier to make? I would say Sukiomi is very popular. He is one towards the top of the popularity charts, which is always something we take a look at. He did come up quite a bit in some of the community surveys that we had looked at of like most wanted gods in Smite 2. And the departments that needed to do the work to bring him over felt like he was a better fit for the calendar at this point in time.
Right.
Every god is hard in their own way. And it's not, you can't just say like Scylla. Scylla's abilities are relatively easy, let's say, but making her dogs work properly is a really hard task for like tech art and rigging. So every god has a different impact on the pipeline, and we kind of just have to keep things balanced between gods, right? And Jormungandr is actually a very technically challenging god because of the ultimate and all that, and also for the art team, the tech art team trying to make the ultimate work, and with his unique rigs, and he's a very interesting, complicated character. So doing kind of a character that's similar to that in terms of scope, in terms of like Ratatusker ultimate with the branches and having the acorns and the multiple forms of the acorn and everything, just, didn't fit in the calendar at this point in time. So yeah.
I will answer this one strictly because while there might be changes eventually, and we're not going to get into the +1 or aspect argument in Mulan, we're not planning on speeding up animation times, and I don't see her becoming CC immune.
So this was this is an interesting thing. Is aspect Kali passive not meant to trigger healing from abilities items? If this is tied to passives, will it also apply to Chiron passive when he's released? And my understanding is no passive healing stuff is triggering the healing items, and that's intentional.
I believe that's the case right now, yes.
And I can't say anything about Chiron, so I'm not going to answer that part of the question. But yes, that is the intent, that passive healing stuff does not trigger the healing items.
If you can get a clip evasion about how the abilities work worse for parity reasons, that's different, and that's something we could look at. But that's a very different argument of parity versus just strictly buff.
Does Ares 3 apply anti-heal? It's not in the ability description, and it doesn't apply anti-heal visual effects.
Pretty sure we said
it was going to, but I don't know if it's. I guess we can take a look.
Yeah, that'd be surprising. We can definitely double check, because if it applies anti-heal, the visual effects I believe are the same for all the anti-heal effects. Oh, maybe that might just be for items. Actually, I need to double check. Bologna triggers regrowth boots via her 3, though, right?
Yeah. I thought it was from her 3. I think Thor aspect is because it is the passive that's giving the healing, not the abilities.
Right.
Yeah.
How will Yorm interact with agility relic? So I don't know if this is going to ever change, and that's completely fine. All the agility relic is doing is kind of like an impulse, and you're using the jump animation. It's effectively a mini dash, and Yorm will technically be able to use agility. So I'm not sure if you're going to mean technically versus visually, but Yorm can use agility, and it just does his little Yorm wiggle in whatever direction. But Yorm, cannot take wind sprites. That's different. That's like a leap, and he will just daze himself instead with his passive.
You should just do a mini ultimate when he takes a wind sprite.
I mean, we could.
Let's see. Oh, another ad. Oh no. I have failed. I'm sorry, chat. This is what happens when you let me run the show.
7
ads. That's brutal.
Is it the same for everyone? Does everyone get the same amount of ads?
I think so. I don't know. Well, the good news is that
length of ads.
At least we'll get some decent ad revenue for the show today. No, I'm just kidding. We didn't mean to do that. Would it be possible to disable Soul Reaver from Assault? Percent HP damage in Assault is unfair.
But it's also percent HP damage for only people who are tankier than you. That's kind of what it's there for.
I don't think we have. I haven't heard that one before.
Because then I would expect chin size to be even better as well.
Yeah.
I've been spared? Oh, weird.
Huh.
I need an anime to watch right now. Okay, we don't have Isaiah here, but the new Dandadan season came out, and Kaiju number 8 are the ones that I'm watching.
Okay. Is there any discussion on changing Agility Relic's name? Not that I've heard of. If you have another name suggestion,
Agility Relic?
We'd listen to it.
Mad Hops.
Somebody called it IHOP earlier, which I thought was kind of funny.
Oh, we need the sponsorship first.
Yeah. Kilgood hates us. I'm sorry. Okay, I forgot to click the button.
Wait, Europeans get no ads? Is that a thing?
I don't know. I would believe it.
I don't know. I would. That'd be kind of cool.
Well, because so when you're buying ads on Twitch, you have to target them towards a region. So it's possible that they sell fewer ads targeting Europe, or targeting. You actually have to target by country in Europe. So if I'm not buying inventory in Estonia and you're watching from Estonia, then you just wouldn't get as many ads, right?
That's super interesting.
I have placed a lot of Twitch ads in my day. So,
any ETA for Smite Card 2? We're working on it together, good sir. Uller aspect, no stand swap and give him an actual ultimate. That's not really in the realm of what aspects are going to do, especially because in terms of giving him a real ultimate sounds like, you know, new animations and new effects, and that's absolutely something that we don't have. We don't want to contain within the scope of aspects. Aspects ideally are a little bit more malleable so that we can iterate on them and almost like rework them if we need to in a way that's very different to +1s. So probably not, but we do. I mean, Uller's on the list of ones we need to get an aspect for. So.
Can we make our X reticle more compact versus just not as thick?
Can't you change it?
No, it just changes the thickness is what that does. So I don't think that we currently support that. If we see other people asking for it, we could definitely take a look at it. But the more things that we add, the more things we have to support for the foreseeable future. So
that's true.
we try and give you enough options to do things interestingly, but not like every single permutation of everything, because then it just becomes unmanageable.
Yep, Magikarp Yorm will be able to use the agility relic.
Yep.
Dana 3 was sped up from Smite 1 to Smite 2, and that was actually controversial, and it's something that we almost decided to revert, but it was almost too late and something. So even then, it's actually something that certain developers internally would have liked for it to be the older version.
Yes.
And also, I think we nerfed it from its release to help it to balance it out, and so it wasn't just a strictly better situation at all.
This is an interesting question, and I have a thought on it, but I'm curious for your thought too.
Sure.
Okay, so you guys removed anti-heal and boots because they were must-buys, but Tahuti has been 100% must-buy for full damage int characters for forever.
Sure.
My thought is that Tahuti is interesting because it gives you a damage spike that scales off of the previous things. Mm-hmm. It does make it kind of, you have to buy it. I get that, right?
Yeah.
But it's an interesting big damage spike that wouldn't be as interesting if we just increased the int of all items by 25% or whatever, right?
Right.
And you wouldn't, I mean, you could just make Tahuti be a 160 int item or whatever, right? But then everybody's just buying it every way, anytime. Right. Like it's like to make it feel like a big enough impact as a stat only item.
There's also still yes, it's good if you are a mage that, uses abilities and you want the most int possible. It's probably correct in that situation. But also, when are you going to be buying it? And do you really want to be buying it all the time? I might not want to buy it against a 4-tank lineup, or I might want to buy completely different items. If I'm going full cooldown build, I might not want to go it as well. There are still circumstances where I could see myself either not getting it or getting it earlier versus later on in a build. And even that level of nuance is still very, very helpful versus I'm buying this first item every single game, right? That's a level of mandatory that is very, very, very different for this conversation. Does Ratatouille need more flexibility? Possibly, but it's even in this realm of discussion, it's not still nearly as mandatory as boots were, right? You're doing that every single game, no matter what. First item, you're not getting away from that.
Can we reduce the price or look into Wish Granting Pearl? It's more expensive than Dreamer's Idol and it has no passive, but it also has health and mana on it, right?
Yeah, it's a lot. I think it's one of the most stat efficient items. And there's an argument of, should we still have some items that are just stat sticks that are just good if you have the money for it, right? Because they're also Ratatouille, or for this one, they're both expensive. We've been split because sometimes it's just good to be I have money and I want these stats, and I click the stat filters and I don't want to think about passives. I don't want to think about actives. I know this is just good. Or we pass that stage and we're 10 plus years in, but we have to think about the casual players too. I can see both sides of that argument.
How often are you playing off-roll in internal playtests? I would say we kind of swap around what roles we're playing all the time.
It's so for the if a designer is working on a god, then they're generally going to be playing that role more often, right? So if I'm I have to be very careful. It's like what characters we're talking about. It's like, okay, we've talked about Jormungandr,
Yeah.
right? So if I'm working on Jormungandr, I'm more likely going to be playing solo or guardian support. I don't get as much opportunity to play like my main roles, like a mid or anything like that, because of that. And I think that makes sense. But you know, we like shaking things up.
Yeah, I like the only role I try to avoid is hunter because I'm really bad, or carry because I'm really bad at carry, and it tends to like throw the playtest balance when I'm like if people play a role that they're especially bad at, right? But like you said, if there's a new god coming up that's in that role, then I'll play them at least a couple times in a playtest just to get a feel for them and see if there's anything wrong. It's 2:00.
Oh, we're there.
And despite our many minutes of ads, apologies, chat. It is time for one more question. So, chat, thanks for checking in today. It's been a good one. We had, two new gods be spoiled. We're going to be having Giannis as the next god. We'll be talking about him on Wednesday. Then he will be followed by Jormungandr, and then by Sukiomi, which is the big surprise, I think. The Smite Prime next season starts soon, so sign up if you want to play in Smite Prime. And Mordred is disabled, but we'll get that fixed soon, so he doesn't just remove people from the game.
I don't know if this is gonna be the question or not, but how are you gonna Yorm ult and Aladdin ult? It's a great question. Yeah, I mean,
it's fine. Just hop
it
around.
should be fine.
Yeah, it should be fine.
But I think it's interesting because I haven't seen it myself.
If you land outside, what happens? Can you land outside?
Yeah, because I guess he's the world serpent, but you're in a different plane of existence. Yeah, kind of,
He's the plane of existence serpent.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to pick one. Let's see.
That's actually kind of a good question.
Go for it. Yeah, while I'm looking, you can take another one.
When Slash was being developed, was Apophis ever considered to be playable, or was he always too similar to Yorm? That's actually one of the reasons why we chose Apophis, is because we always assumed that he'd be too similar to Yorm, that we wouldn't... Like, we were basically looking for that exact thing of like, let's take a character we have and see what we probably aren't going to do, because we still want to make something epic and cool, but we might not want to actually do that ourselves. So Apophis was actually very much designed in that case to be that. That being said, I think once people got in the game, they're like, yeah, just make him now. Like you've got him now, do it. It's like, okay, well that's the opposite of what we wanted to do here.
And I scrolled up a bit to find one that I liked. And I'm gonna take this one. Any chance we can get some clearer numbers in ability descriptions, specifically around multi-hit abilities? Maybe something like hits 25 times or 23 damage 5 times instead of hits multiple times for 23 damage each hit. So I am actually in the process of rewriting all of the ability descriptions in the game. Or no, I take that back. I'm rewriting all of the item descriptions in the game.
Right.
So I'm working on clarifying that so that it scans better. And then we're adding some tags to help like make abilities clearer to understand what they are. So if the item rewrite goes well, maybe we'll go back and touch up the ability ones too. I think that, the ability ones are in a better state than the item ones. So we're starting there. But we could definitely loop back on some of those that aren't reading as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's all we have today. Be sure to watch on Wednesday to see Giannis and to see Isaiah's smiling face and to talk about everything else that's coming in OB16. 16's next one, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
OB16. It should be a good show, as always. It will be better because I won't be hosting, and I am not a great host.
Oh, we had a good time.
But we had a good time. Thank you so much to Clumzy for joining us today.
Appreciate it.
And chat, thank you so much. Have a good day.
Appreciate
Bye-bye.
Bye.